Okay guys, welcome to the last part of the series of building my first PC. Today we're going to check out some benchmarking, some game performances, and see how basically the computer performs. So we're going to jump into my computer right here where I have OBS. Let me do this. Let me click this down. And we're going to run Heaven pretty quick here. What I'm going to do is already ran it for using one of the web page that I found as a let's call it benchmark pretty much, and ran it using their settings for 1080p and 1440. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run it, since I'm going to be playing at 1080p, I'm just going to run it at 1080 with ultra quality, tessellation extreme, anti-aliasing times 8, and we're gonna see how it performs using those settings. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna turn let's turn off MSI Afterburner, and while it runs, let's check using CPU ID the GPU temps. Now keep something in mind, when I was running the other tests, I was getting like pretty toasty temperatures. I was getting 89 degrees on the GPU, so I had to go in using MSI Afterburner and tweak the fan curve a little bit, just to be able to get the temperatures that I needed. So what you may hear the fans ramping up right now. They're pretty loud. The XFX is not known for being the most silent GPU out there in the market, but I don't have the computer near me while I'm gaming. Plus I have really good headphones, so I really don't mind. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait until the temperatures get up pretty high. Keep in mind that the room temperature right now is 73 degrees. So I'm gonna wait until the temperatures go high enough, around 80, and I'm gonna start the benchmark at that moment. Okay, so we'll wait a little bit for that, and I'll be back. Okay guys, so as you can see, we got to 76 degrees, so I'm gonna just start the benchmarking right now, using the benchmarking tool inside of Heaven, and we're gonna keep an eye here on our temperatures as well as our core clock. As you can see, the fans are ramping up almost at 3000 RPMs, so that's kind of high. But to be honest, I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna waste like my GPU. I'm not gonna let it go so high in the temperatures. I'll just I don't mind having to deal with a little bit of noise. So temperatures went all the way to 77. So we'll see the final result after the benchmarking. We'll keep an eye on it and on the temperatures as the benchmark goes, but it's very important to keep in mind that I think we're not gonna get over 81 or 82 degrees, at least not to 89, which was the temperature that I got the last time. So we'll see. Let's keep watching these temps real quick. Okay, so I'm going to show you now, guys, what the results were using this other web page that I told you about. So keep this. I'm going to do something. I'm going to use the snipping tool right here, and I'm going to keep this as reference, and I'm going to close this because I want to give my GPU a rest. Goodbye. Okay, so by heaven. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you right now is a web page that I found where they were trying on the Sapphire RX 580 Nitro Plus. So right here on the screen, So right here on the screen, you can see the settings that they used. So they went for ultra quality, tessellation disabled, and anti-aliasing 2x. So they ran the tests using 1080p, 1440p, and this other resolution that I couldn't reach with my Heaven, so I didn't try it that way. So according to them, their Sapphire RX 580 reached 2373 points on 1080p, while the XFX reached 2440. Now, now keep in mind, this is the one that I need. Keep in mind that this is very relative. I mean, can be that way, can be that way, but as you can see, we pretty much reached what they were saying. Now for 1440p right here, they got 1302. For some reason that I don't know, even we got a better performance at 1440. I don't understand why, but we did. So basically we got a better performance in 1440. But I want to show you something. These were the temperatures during those tests. So for the 1080p, we reached 87 degrees. For the 1440, we reached 89 degrees. As you saw, we didn't go past 80 on our last benchmark, and this is the benchmark that I got before tweaking the fan curve. As you can see, even though I got more FPS, I got a higher score. I'm sorry, not that one. Even though I got a higher score, temperatures were reaching 89 degrees. So yeah, it's something that I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna risk my GPU using those settings, but I just prefer to keep my GPU safe and not do that kind of stuff. So now I'm not gonna save this. I'm gonna run another test. So we're gonna run Cinebench right here on Cinebench R20. I found this webpage, CPU Monkey, and they ran the test for the Ryzen 5 on Cinebench 20 for single core and multi-core settings, basically for multi-core and single core options. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna run both tests, and we're gonna see how it performs, basically. So let's do that. Let's make sure to keep an eye, and this is going to be important, to keep an eye on our temperatures. That's going to be a real big issue here. So let's run. Just going to get ready. There we go. So it's running right now, multi-core benchmark, and look how the temperatures ramp up. So the first time I did this test, I was getting up to 93 degrees. According to AMD Ryzen Master, the maximum temperature allowed is 95. That's when it starts to thermal throttle. I went in and in the BIOS, well, actually download the motherboard utility first, the A stream in my case, and I started like playing around with fan curves and trying to see what would be the best. And in the end, I just went into the BIOS and tweaked a couple of stuff. Keep in mind that I also have the stock cooler. I don't have any special coolers here. So as you can see, we're reaching 90 degrees on all cores, 91. So we're getting pretty toasty. Yeah, we're getting pretty toasty using Cinebench. I think that I'm going to, the day that I upgrade, I'm going to go for a aftermarket cooler, maybe a Scythe or a Cooler Master. I'm not sure yet. Pretty much, I think a Scythe. They're pretty good coolers. I don't think about getting I don't think I'm gonna get a Noctua. Those things are too expensive. But look at that, 92, Oof, 91. I mean, it gets pretty toasty, even though with a better fan curve. yeah, as you can see, 3,398 was my result here. So yeah, it was pretty low compared to 3,689. So it all depends. I was able to get up to 3,500 at one point, but it all depends on many stuff. Or like I said, I don't have PWM fans. That could help a lot. I know they would. That's something that I need to get. So we're gonna run now the single core test, and this one takes a long time, so I'm not gonna record it all. We're just gonna wait until it's done, but we're gonna keep an eye on the temperatures as it happens, just because temperatures won't ramp up as much. So after doing all the tests, guys, you can see right here that we got 3398 for all cores and 465 for single core. Now if we compare to what CPU Guru was doing, they got 472 for single core, so we were pretty close, but we were far away from the multi-core score. So my guess is just a temps issue. Maybe I should get some PWM fans. That would help a lot, since I'm only using the stock cooler. Of course, aftermarket cooler would be way better, but it's not part of the plan right now. So yeah, I mean, like I said, the airflow in the case is pretty good. I have two 120mm fans for intake, one for exhaust. It's better than just having the exhaust fan that came with the case, but yeah, I mean, that's where we're getting. So we're gonna do some gaming now, some light gaming, so you guys can see some like actual usage. We're gonna first start with a classic. It's gonna be CSGO. Keep in mind though that I really suck at this game, so I'm not that good. We're watching the FPS only, okay? Since it's CSGO, we cannot use MSI Afterburner, so we're gonna track the FPS using the built-in tool on Steam. It's gonna give us a small number, so I'm just gonna zoom in for that, and we're gonna check how the FPS work in this case. Okay, so just wait a moment. I want to mute this. Okay, let's do it. So we're here in the game. As you can see, 118, 120 FPS. Just so you guys can see, the settings are basically high. They're auto based, but they're all high. We got everything enabled. So we're playing at a decent. We're putting a decent amount of strain over this GPU. So we're gonna play and we're gonna see how it goes. Like I said, we're not judging my game abilities, we're judging the GPU. Okay? Don't make fun of me. I'm not good at this game. Let's go. So I'm gonna get this one and let's see. So as you can see, we're getting down lower. Yeah, the FPS are all over the place, but we're doing well above 120 FPS, which is the idea. I mean, to be fair, I think I may end up capping the amount of FPS. Oh my god, it sucks so much at this game. I may end up capping the amount of FPS because, well, this my screen is only 60 Hertz, so it's not worth it. But either way, that's CSGO. Nothing fancy. So I'm gonna quit here and I'm gonna go and do a test now on GTA 5. Now GTA 5, you'll see, once again, I'm gonna try it first with VSync off, just so that we can see how high the FPS may go. But most probably the car is gonna thermal throttle. I mean, because it's gonna reach such a high temperature. Already happened to me once. So we'll see how it goes. I may end up just playing with VSync on and just cap the FPS at 60, because it's not worth it to put the GPU under a heavy load with no purpose, because the screen is not going to be able to handle that kind of FPS. I mean, you're making your GPU work more than it should, and that's something that people don't keep in mind normally. Okay, so I'm just gonna go and turn off VSync. There we go, and as you can see, I got everything on high, very high. It's basically, I think it's on, as you can see, the refresh rate. I kind of change it because it's detecting my screen. Yeah, save it. So VSync off. I'm gonna play story mode. I'm just doing the story mode. I just started with this game. So we're going to try in story mode. Keep an eye on the GPU usage and temperatures, because you're going to see those ramp up pretty high. But also keep an eye on the FPS, because that's going to give you the information you need to be able to decide if it's worth it or not. So, oh my god, don't tell me I'll have to do this again. Came in here, as you can see, look at the FPS. So I'm around 115, 140, but look at the temperatures. I'm getting 77 degrees, 70 something degrees, 100% utilization. So yeah, it's pushing 120 FPS, but the problem is that the temperatures are just too high. Now, the only thing that I would think it would help this would be to have some good PWM fans that would ramp up with the GPU, so that way you would be able to just get some more fresh air to your GPU. That's the only thing that I would think that would help the GPU in these kind of situations. But the problem is that once it gets to 80, I'm going to start seeing, because it already happened once, you're going to start seeing some like stuttering, diminishing performance, things like that. So is it worth it? In my case, it doesn't. It's not, just because my monitor is 60 hertz. So what I'm trying to say here is, just guys, keep in mind what's the performance of your hardware, and don't push your PC way more than it should. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to graphics. I'm going to turn VSync on, and you'll see, come on, and you'll see how the usage, oh my god, how the usage and the temperatures go down significantly. Where did this guy go? Okay, so I'm gonna lose right here, but either way, look at the temperatures and look at the usage. I think he went the other way. So usage, temperature, they're both going down. So that's the idea. I mean, you cannot hear the fans anymore, and that's the point. I mean, don't force your hardware more than it has to go. In my case, look, 72 degrees, already going down. So what's the point of just pushing it harder than it should? And sometimes people do that. Sometimes you try to get as much FPS as you can, while your monitor cannot display those FPS. So there you have it, guys. I mean, come on, look at that, 71 degrees now. It keeps going down. So, I think that's how I'm gonna game. I'm just gonna cap all my games at 60 FPS and don't push the GPU harder than it should. That's it. So I'm gonna exit here, and I'm going to give you one extra game right here just for the fun of it. Yeah, get out of my way. So the game that I'm gonna show you right now, it's a classic. I'm gonna play Halo 1 now. Halo 1 is a game from the 2000s, so this is gonna be fun. The idea here is gonna be, so right now the settings, everything is high, no VSync, everything is high as it can go. Resolution, I'm just gonna push it as hard as I can go, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, I like it. So you'll be able to see the actual like game, but keep an eye on the CPU, GPU usage, as well as the FPS count. So look at that, 634, 600 and something, and the GPU is being used. I mean, come on, 68, 69 degrees, 70 degrees. It's pushing. I mean, it's pushing real hard. Now, look, more than 1,000 FPS. Now you'll see that there's some, like, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right. It feels weird. Look at that. Look at that shit moving. It doesn't feel right because there's so much FPS going on that the game feels wrong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to see if I can find an alien around here. Of course, there are aliens around here. If you have ever played this game, you know there are aliens. I've played this game like 10 times or more. Like, not played, but finished. So there are some bad guys over here. So look at this. It doesn't even start every time I fire. And you're gonna say this is gonna be fun. Look at this. I can keep my aim pretty much like perfect. Did you see that? Did you see that blur on the screen? That's because I have too many FPS. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go real quick here. I'm gonna turn VSync on, and we're gonna see how the GPU usage goes down. Oh, no, damn it. How the GPU usage goes down, but also how the fans go down and how the game behaves better. Okay, let's resume it. So you can see the game behaves well better, and look at the temperature, look at the usage, barely using it. So what I'm trying to say here once more is don't push your GPU harder than you should. Keep in mind, always keep in mind how far you can push. I mean, how far does your screen is going to be able to display graphics, and just keeping it there. Just keep it there. If it's at 75, if you just keep VSync on. Like, let's be real. How many screens nowadays are able to push harder than 180 hertz? Almost none. So look at that, 53 degrees. So yeah, I'm gonna save this just because. So that's what I'm trying to say, guys. You were able to see what this computer is capable of. If you're just looking to game and you're looking to play games at a decent frame rate at 60 FPS, this is a great option. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching this series. As always, if you have any comments, put them down below. I'll try to respond to all of them, and hope to see you guys around at any of these games. Thank you.